All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to explore a Nobel Prize-winning discovery that uncovered a secret control system hiding inside our cells. This is a story about a finding that literally rewrote a fundamental rule of biology. So let me just ask you this. What if the instruction manual for your life wasn't just a set of blueprints? What if it also had millions of tiny little sticky notes telling your cells when not to build something? To really wrap our heads around this, let's use a simple analogy. Just imagine all of your genetic information, your DNA, is one giant master cookbook. I mean, this thing has every single recipe your body could ever need. So first, let's talk about the simple recipe. You know, the one we all learned back in biology class. For decades, this was the accepted story, the official way we thought life was built. And the process seemed pretty straightforward, a perfect three-step recipe. First, you've got the master cookbook, your DNA. Now, when your body needs something specific, it doesn't haul that entire giant book into the kitchen, right? Of course not. Instead, it carefully copies the one recipe it needs onto a little recipe card. We call that messenger RNA, or mRNA. And finally, the cell's kitchen machinery reads that card and cooks the dish, which is the protein that goes and does all the important work. Simple, elegant, and for a really long time, we thought that was the whole story. But what if it wasn't? What if there were times when you could see a recipe card being written out, but the dish just never showed up on the table? Well, that is the exact puzzle that scientists started to stumble upon. And this is where things get really interesting. We have a genuine scientific mystery on our hands. Researchers were seeing something that the classic cookbook model, well, it just couldn't explain. So, enter our two main characters, a couple of brilliant scientists named Victor Ambros and Gary Ruvkun. They were studying the development of this tiny little roundworm, C. elegans, and they noticed a key gene just wasn't behaving the way it was supposed to. Something was missing from the recipe. So the puzzle was clear. The expectation was simple. If the cell makes a recipe card, that mRNA, then the dish, the protein, should get made. But what Ambers and Ruvkun were seeing was, frankly, baffling. The recipe card was there, plain as day, but the kitchen wasn't cooking. The protein was completely missing. So where was the disconnect? Well, the search for that missing piece led them to an absolutely groundbreaking discovery. It wasn't a mistake in the cookbook, no. It was an entirely new type of instruction that nobody had ever seen before. They discovered something called microRNA. Now, this tiny piece of RNA is totally different from the messenger RNA we just talked about. It's not a recipe for a protein. A much better way to think of it is like a sticky note from the head chef that says, hey, hold this order, or, you know what, cancel this dish. It's a regulator. And this discovery was so fundamental, so important, that it earned them the Nobel Prize. The official citation honored them for the discovery of microRNA and its role in post-transcriptional gene regulation. That fancy term, post-transcriptional, in our cookbook analogy, just means controlling the recipe after the card has already been written. So there it was. Ambros and Ruvkun had found the solution to the whole puzzle. The missing protein wasn't a mistake at all. It was intentional. A tiny microRNA note was actively telling the cell's kitchen to stop. So how does it actually work? Well, it's beautifully simple. This little microRNA molecule is designed to find and stick directly onto a specific recipe card, a specific messenger RNA. And once it's attached, one of two things happens. It either physically blocks the kitchen machinery from being able to read the recipe, or it acts like a big tag that tells the cell, this recipe card is garbage, throw it out. Either way, the result is exactly the same. No readable recipe means no dish gets made. You have to understand, this wasn't just a minor edit to our understanding of biology. This was like discovering a whole new chapter in the cookbook of life, one filled with notes, edits, and a level of control we never even knew existed. The implications of this were just massive. I mean, it revealed a completely new layer of how our genes are controlled. Scientists quickly figured out that when these microRNAs malfunction, they're linked to major diseases, including many types of cancer. And maybe most exciting of all, it opened up a brand new frontier for medicine, designing drugs that could mimic or even block these tiny regulators. So the big takeaway from all of this is that life's instruction manual isn't just some static list of recipes. It's a dynamic, living document. It has this incredibly intricate system of checks and balances, edits and annotations that fine-tunes the entire process with really breathtaking precision. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? After a discovery this fundamental, it really begs the question, how many more of life's so-called rules are out there just waiting to be rewritten? How many more of these secret layers of complexity are still tucked away in our cells, just waiting for the next curious mind to find them?